Andrew Stevens is our correspondent in Malaysia right now. This is very dramatic information that the Wall Street Journal has. I wonder if you're hearing anything at all in Malaysia itself, Andrew, to suggest that there's an investigation underway that instead of this plane crash landing somewhere, may actually have landed.
Well, getting information out of the Malaysian authorities, Wolf, as we all know now, is proving quite difficult. I mean, if this is true, I mean, even the point that the plane was flying for another 4 to 5 hours, this is according to US investigators, is an extraordinary development, given the fact that less than 12 hours ago, the Malaysian authorities, leading the search, leading all the information disposal, basically put that theory down. They said that it was an inaccurate report. There was no evidence that they had to suggest, certainly, that the plane was still flying. Let me quote what the Defence Minister, who's leading this investigation, says. I would like to refer to news reports suggesting that the aircraft may have continued flying for some time after the last contact. As Malaysian Airlines will confirm shortly, those reports are inaccurate, and they base this inaccuracy on the fact that there was no information coming from the engines of that plane to suggest that it continued to fly. Now, they've got experts from Rolls-Royce and from Boeing down here. They checked that with them, and that's what they said. But you've got US investigators now saying this is a distinct possibility that this plane still may have been flying. We put calls in several hours ago now, Wolf, to the Malaysian authorities, to the Civil Defence Authority here. We haven't heard anything back yet. It's now getting on towards 6:30 in the morning. This is obviously going to be a major line of inquiry today. At the moment, we get a single daily update from authorities here. I don't know we don't yet know what time that will be. But certainly this is, if the US is saying that this plane probably kept flying and the Malaysian authorities are saying, no, it didn't, what's going on?
Andrew Stevens reporting for us from Kuala Lumpur. Andrew, thanks very much. This flight 370, the search crews, they are facing an daunting task looking for the aircraft. They're combing the vast Indian Ocean right now for traces of the plane. They'll be guided by lessons from past air disasters. CNN's Pamela Brown has been looking into this part of the story for us. What are you learning?
Well, Wolf, we're learning, of course, every crash is different, but we've been speaking to aviation experts, and they tell us that planes are like tin cans, and when they break up or fill up with water, they sink. But there are enough parts of the plane with buoyancy that could provide clues as to where the wreckage is.
It was called a miracle because U.S. Airways pilot Sully Sullenberger pulled off the seemingly impossible, safely crash landing his passenger-packed jet in one piece on the Hudson River.
Kudos to him, man. He did a great job.
Most of the time, though, the wreckage is not in one piece. Debris scatters, some of it sinking, some of it floating.
The life jackets could be in there, seat cushions, anything in the bins that floated. So it's certainly possible that substantial pieces of lightweight debris, not aircraft structure, could be found floating 6 days after if the aircraft struck the water.
Air France Flight 447 crashed into the Atlantic Ocean in 2009. In this case, floating debris led search crews to the wreckage 5 days after it went down. The debris field was relatively contained. That shows it broke up when it hit the water before some of it sank 2.5 miles to the ocean floor. In 1996, TWA Flight 800 exploded in the sky near New York. Debris scattered far and wide. Investigators had to map out several debris fields. The cockpit sank, but the fuselage and wings scattered far because of how high up the plane was when it exploded.
Initial pieces of floating debris just give you a clue where to start looking and listening for the pingers, the transmitting devices that make a ping sound that a sonar picks up that are on the recorders.
In the case of the 1996 hijacked Ethiopian plane, when the pilot tried ditching the aircraft in shallow waters, it broke into 3 segments, with the fuselage floating and the rear section submerged. In the case of the still missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, investigators are trying to cover all their bases, conducting searches by air, space, and sea.